There we go. Put on my magic glasses so I can see. What's happening, y'all? Yes, it's pre-4th of July blast off. Brought to you by Mountain Dew Kickstart. There's your plug, Mountain Dew. Hello, viewer. How are we today? You missed the plug. Mountain Dew Kickstart. Good shit. So what's happening? That's the one person right there probably that stops every day first thing and then decides to move on because I haven't said anything yet. There's another viewer. What's up, viewer? Maybe that's my daughter. Is it? Yeah, maybe not. What's up, viewer? We'll try and go home a different way today. See if that makes a difference. Video dumped out on me a couple times yesterday, so I was going down the road, so I'm going to do it differently today. It's a long weekend. We got 3 days this weekend, which is good. Hello, viewers. What's happening? We got out there today. Well, and they're both gone at the same time. Ain't that some shit? That's all right. As long as they're opening that door and shutting it back when they're getting done, that's fine with me. Yep. Hello, viewer. How are you doing? Yeah, I've only got one person on here right now. Yep. All right, 8. Wow. That jumped up quick. What's up, y'all? Anybody got any plans for the 4th of July? How many people would get lucky enough that they have a job where they get a 3-day weekend? This guy does. That's right. I'm looking forward to it. I just got off a vacation. I went to Florida and through Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, and into Kentucky. And on my way home from Kentucky, I came back to, Missouri. So it's nice to be off for a week, work a couple of days, and then go right back on a 3-day weekend. I enjoy those a lot. But there was a lot of stuff that while I was out of town that didn't get done, like my yard didn't get mowed. I've got to do that sometime. And I got some other shit around the house I need to do. I got a deck that's falling apart that I need to figure out how to reinforce the support under it. Rotten boards and all. What we got there? Mustafa, what's happening? Yeah, I'll give you a shout out. You guys that are on here watching, I'll give you a shout out. It doesn't cost you anything. Just write something. And yeah, Mr. Mustafa Conner. Is that right? Conner? I don't know how to pronounce your last name. I mean, it's got a lot of vowels in it, though. What's happening? So I'm talking about being on vacation for a week, and then, the 4th of July weekend, some of us are lucky enough to get 3 days off. I happen to be one of those people, so I'm going to live it up this weekend. I got to get my yard mowed, and there's some other shit I need to do. I need to take one of my cars to a car wash, and it's dirty from all the road grime and bugs. When you go through the southeastern United States, It's there's a lot of bugs and shit down there. It's splat on your windshield and on the grill of the car and all that. So I got to get that thing cleaned up really nice. Plus I got a bunch of sand in the back of it, you know, from like when you walk around in the sand, you know, in those they call water shoes, and they get sand down inside of them. Luckily enough for me, I was smart enough to have one of those rubber mats, you know, that go in the back of the car. It keeps the sand from getting all over the place. But I've still got sand in the car, you know, anyway. Yeah, it was a pretty nice vacation. Like I said, I went to St. Augustine, Florida, and then from there I went to Wilmington, North Carolina. Got to go visit a beach that I haven't seen in many years. Not because I didn't want to, I just, you know, I'm really partial to the South Carolina beaches because it seems like there's a lot more to do at those than the North Carolina beaches. What we got in there? Red-blooded American. That's what I'm talking about right there, buddy. You look like Eddie Money. Well, I appreciate that. I usually get the Big Lebowski. You know, I guess it's what, Jeff Daniels? Didn't he play the Big Lebowski? So I usually get people say I look like the Big Lebowski. There's one guy that comes in. He's from California, and he kind of nicknamed me Lebowski. So, but I appreciate the Eddie Money. You know, when I was younger, people used to think that I looked a lot like John Lennon because I was really skinny and I wore the, you know, the round glasses and stuff. But I don't know, man. It's just natural me, you know. I do my thing. I try to do this, you know, 3 times a week. This is my 3rd time this week. I thought since, you know, tomorrow's the 4th of July that I might go ahead and do a video now, you know, that way, well, I don't know, I might still do one tomorrow. It'll be a longer video if I do, and, you know, it might be like me mowing my grass or something like that. I don't know, it just kind of depends on my mood and what time I decide to do the video or the live stream. I got a lot of other shit I need to take care of. I gotta get my bike out of the building and ride it around a little bit. And my bike, I haven't ridden it much this year. I've got a 2019 Harley Iron 883 Harley Davidson, the XL model, and it sits more than it runs because I just don't really have any desire to ride it. You know, especially now that Missouri has legalized marijuana, so you got stupid people driving cars, and then they go out and get stoned, and you got stoned stupid people driving cars. So it's gotten really dangerous. I've seen a lot of articles here lately around the area about motorcycles getting hit, and I'm just not really being interested in being a statistic. So I've decided that I don't. Let's see, who is that? I'm going to see if I can read your name. I'm coming to a stoplight here. Let's see. My glasses are really dark. It's hard for me to see. Let me see here what your name is. Papa Scum. Right on. Them blacks can never do. Well, I don't know that. I don't know if I really like that comment or not. Wow. Make them, God, dude, really? That's uncalled for. Okay, we're gonna hide your user on this channel. Yeah, because I don't like your comments, dude. That's fucking rude. Unbelievable. You know, you'd think in the society that we live in, we have enough problems with racism already. You know, and people tell me, oh, you're a racist, because I don't believe a lot of the same things, but I don't come out and say stupid shit like that. What the fuck's wrong with you, dumbass? Jesus Christ. You ain't got something nice to say to people, don't fucking say anything at all. Jesus Christ. Sorry about that, guys. You know, some people just really surprise me sometimes. I really don't. I wish my moderator was here. I've got a moderator, but unfortunately she's not with us right now. Yeah, but that was really fucking uncalled for. Fucking asshole. You know, I've got friends that are black, okay? I got a guy that I grew up with and went to junior high school with and kept in touch with him all my life. And he recently passed away, and it was one of the most devastating things I've ever been through in my life. So this fucking asshole comes in here talking shit. Fuck you, whoever you were. Jesus Christ. Sorry, I don't mean to go off the wall like that. Fucking Papa Scum. Yeah, he's a fucking scumbag, all right. Must have been an asshole baby. I'm sorry, y'all. I didn't mean to get wound up. But that happens from time to time when I get fucking people in here that are ignorant, want to talk shit, you know, about something that's a very controversial subject in, you know, in American society. But it's bad enough the fucking media pushes it, but when people come right out and say that stupid shit, it just really gets on my nerves. Not that I have many left, but I think he just fucking rode the last nerve I had. That's alright. You don't have to watch him anymore. I took care of that shit. Sorry, guys and gals. Anyway, so like I was saying, I got to get my motorcycle out of the building this weekend, and I got a couple of 49cc scooters that I need to go through the carburetors on. The thing is with those, they're Bentellis. Both of them are Bentellis, and they're 49ccs. And if you let them things sit for too long, carburetors and the jets gum up in them really bad. So I need to go in and clean the carburetors out in both of them, and I'm probably going to end up having to buy batteries for them too. And a buddy of mine from work just passed me over there. But I gotta take the carburetors out, clean them up real good, and I'm probably going to end up replacing both the batteries, which I don't really feel like spending, excuse me, woo, I don't feel like spending that much this weekend, but I got to get at least one so I can start both of them up. I really should do something to kind of weatherproof them, or, you know, like empty out the carburetors and gas tanks. You know, at the beginning of the winter season, I haven't messed with these things in a couple of years. It's been that long since I've ridden either one of them. And I haven't really ridden my motorcycle too much either. It's got a brand new battery in it. I put a brand new battery in it because the one that was in it was dead. And you know, I've got, the thing has a freaking LED light that flashes all the time because it's got a security system on it. And that, you know, after about 2 weeks, that light likes to kill my battery. So I don't get an opportunity to ride it very much anymore. Not because of that, just because I don't want to. You know, it's got. I was on a service road behind. It was in front of like a business, and then behind some other businesses. You know, kind of like a throughway. And I was going to an ATM machine. Well, where I needed to turn in, there was a guy turning out. And what he did, I don't know if he just wasn't looking or if he was just fucking stoned and stupid or what his problem was. But he pulled right in my lane, so I had no choice but to lay my bike down. Luckily for me, I was only doing about 10 miles an hour. What was that? Blex? B-L-E-X? Hello, Blex. How you doing? Anyway. But ever since that incident, I just haven't really had much of a desire to ride a motorcycle. You know, I mean, it could have been a lot worse. I'm glad I had a helmet on because my head did hit the ground. And it didn't knock any sense into me except for, you know, well, maybe you shouldn't be riding a motorcycle. Anyway. And I got some spring cleaning I needed. I got some headlights that came out of my SUV that are out there that I need to throw away, and just a regular spring cleaning. You know, this is something I should have done earlier this year, but I procrastinate a lot. You know, and it's easier to procrastinate than to try and keep up with chores for me. So that's what I do. Anyway, while I got you guys on here, subscribe, press twice to like. or even comment below and I'll give you a shout out. It won't cost you anything. The other stuff is optional, but if you want a shout out, just put your name down at the bottom. Write something, hello, hi, I don't know, something, and I'll give you a shout out for sure. But anyway, so 3-day weekend means that there's stuff that I didn't get to do during the vacation that I'm going to have to do now. Hey, what's up, Mega? Haven't seen you in a while. You know, I was just talking about you. This fella came in and said I look like Eddie Money, you know, because of the goatee and all. And I was telling him about you. You know, I got a buddy that lives in California. I said California, but you know what I mean. And I said, you know, that you kind of labeled me as the Big Lebowski because that's who I look like. So it's interesting. You should pop in. Yeah. Let me put on my glasses here for a minute and see if I can read your comment. Let me clean them first. Glasses are dirty. I wear sunglasses when the sun's out, of course. All right, let's see here. You pulled your groin muscle and busted part. Turned into be a shark. Oh no. You gotta clean that shit up. I can see Eddie Money, yeah. Yeah, California. That's right. So, yeah, but it's just ironic, you know, but I was just, it's like maybe your ears were itching or something. I don't know, dude. I was like, I finished talking about you. And when you get done watching this feed, if you'll go back, you'll see where he came in and I commented on his comment. So that's really interesting. Hey man, you got any plans for the 4th? Or do they let you celebrate out there? I know they're really strict on like emissions and shit, but I don't know how much emissions fireworks put off, but it seemed to me they'd let you do something out there. It has 2 thumbs and harasses the elderly. This guy, yeah. Yeah, that's right. I don't like to harass people much unless they get on my nerves. You know, I had a guy come in here a little bit ago that used some pretty profound language against a group of Americans, not particularly like, you know, Trump supporters or anything like that, but you know, it really pisses me off because there's enough racism in the world, you know, and the media pushes that shit. And I mean, he came right out and said it, so I got rid of him. Press ham against restaurant windows. Yeah, I hear you. Excuse me, I know that's not good etiquette, but man, it's hot here today. I'm thirsty, and I know that you know, sodas aren't the greatest thing for to quench your thirst with, especially the energy drinks. But I like these, man. These are the black cherry Kickstarts, Mountain Dew Kickstarts. There was a guy that was in here from France, and I can't remember his name. Last week he was telling me that they don't have Kickstarts over there in France. They're missing out on the good shit, you know. Why don't orphans play baseball? They can't find home. Oh my God, that's all right. I like that one. Baja Blast is energy drink. Yeah, well, there's. I used to drink a lot of the Monsters when I was younger, and people used to tell me all the time, "Man, those things are so bad for you." And then I switched up. I started drinking. Well, when I moved here to Missouri, they've got something called a Rooster Booster, and then they have Donkey Kick. So I was drinking both of those. But there's some, and then I drank Bang for a little while, and I switched up and started drinking Joker. But they've got this chemical in them. It's a cyana something or other. You know, one of those words you can't pronounce. And I decided to quit drinking those because they're supposed to be vitamin B. But I saw a video, and you know, a couple of people backing this thing up that what they do is they use sludge. You know, whether it be in like dirty water or whatever, and that's where they get this chemical from. Now, it's a very minute, amount of it, but it's basically just cyanide. That's basically what they said it was anyway. So I drink the Mountain Dews because they don't have that shit in them. What's up? Let's see here. Who is that? I got to put my glasses back on. You guys are going to wear me out today, but that's all right. I don't mind interacting with you guys. Let's see here. That shit. I'd hate to see that dude on crack. Well, I'm guessing we probably have and just didn't really know what we're looking at, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, well, there's your batshit crazy. There's your shout out. And look, it didn't even cost that. So generally, when I do shout outs, a lot of, or I'm sorry, not when I do them, but when other people do them, they always want you to subscribe and like their video and then, and all that stuff. I don't care about all that stuff. I just, I think it's cool to interact with people out there, like Mr. MAGA over there. What a guy. And he's funny too. I like to see him in here, and there's another guy was at Hockey King. I haven't seen Hockey King in a while. But I'm sure he'll pop in. The guy from France came in yesterday. I saw him, or it was yesterday, yeah, it was yesterday afternoon. The guy from France came in, and I hadn't seen him in a while. He was like, hey man, do you remember me? Hell yeah, I remember you. Were talking about studying. He's apparently when they're still in school over there or something. Build-A-Bear of scale model size of Nancy Pelosi rack. Well, I tell you what, I mean, Nancy Pelosi's got, and I don't care who you are, those things, I bet you they would be fun to motorboat those. She'd probably like it though. She's a dirty old coot. I tell you what, that Nancy Pelosi, man, she does, she drinks more gin and does more fucking pain pills, I think, than anybody in Congress. I'm really surprised she can walk half the time. Oh, what we got here? Oh, well, hold on. I got a bunch of people coming in now. Everybody wants to comment. Let me see what's going on here. I got a Paul Jahan. What's up? I got a... let's see here. Batshit crazy again. Yeah. What's that? Baba. Yep, I see you. Babish. And batshit crazy. You guys are on Datsun 240. Yeah, I remember those. Ford Pinto. Yeah, motorboat them floppy. Yeah, they're floppy now, but I'm sure that at one point they were really firm. Probably when she was a lot younger. Ford Pinto. I had a 74 Ford Pinto, and it would backfire. It was a 4 on the floor, and every time I pressed the clutch gear to go to the next gear, that thing would backfire. I used to scare the people hell around me. And it's funny that batshit crazy said something about a Datsun 240. Was it Datsun's what, Nissan now? Yeah, I remember the Datsuns, man. They was some pretty good looking cars. Except for the B210. The B210, dude, that was a god-awful looking car. The Datsun B210. And what colors did they come in? Like white, black, and what, blue or gray? Or I don't remember. But a buddy of mine had one. Nancy Reagan had a set on her that backer. Look at her. Yeah, well, she could afford it, Oh, Ronnie. I bet you Ronnie liked them too. Yeah, I'll drink to that. Cheers. Hey, Green. Yeah, no shit. I'm gonna turn my radio down. I got flagged by YouTube again. They flagged me for a copyright infringement on a song that played on the radio. like, you know, when I'm doing videos, I don't have any fucking control over that shit. Offer orange option had a shag color rug options for colors. Oh, okay. Well, I wasn't aware of that. The only ones I ever saw, I think, were like black, blue, and white. My buddy had a white one with black trim, black interior. Man, and it would sit out like, you know, when we were going to school in high school. That thing would sit out in the parking lot, and the fucking black interior would just suck in the freaking heat. It was unbelievable. Oh, and pea green. Yeah, I don't remember seeing any pea green ones. Now I had a Dodge Dart that was pea green. It was a 66 or 67 Dodge Dart. It was pea green. That was an ugly ass car, but I tell you what, that son of a bitch ran good. It took me forever to kill it. had that old 225 slant six in it, you know. Those motors will run forever if you take care of them and change the oil. Of course, I didn't do that very much. I was a young, dumb kid. I knew nothing about no car maintenance. I just knew to get in there, start the key, you know, turn the key and start the motor and go. And I didn't learn about car maintenance until after the starter went out. I had no choice but to learn auto mechanics. I was kind of forced to. I didn't really want to, but you know what? Then I found out, man, I could work on cars and make money. Hell yeah! So that's what I did for a few years. I worked at an oil change, a couple of different oil change centers. I worked for the golfer Arnold Palmer Cadillac place in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I worked for a place called Bowie Ford. I was a Ford mechanic. I've done quite a bit of auto mechanics over the years. Volvo diesel, as well as they ran until they couldn't write. Yep. My aunt had a Volvo, and incidentally, it was like that. It was like a piss color yellow. It was a nasty looking yellow car, but yeah, it ran good until it didn't. What do you get when you tie two nuns together? Nunchucks. I've got to tell. I got a deacon friend of mine. He likes jokes like that. I'm about to tell him that one. Of course, he may already know it. He's a deacon in the Catholic Church, but he's also a school principal at one of the Catholic schools here. But this guy, he's like freaking cool as hell. He's an old Army Ranger, and he's one of the coolest people I know. Except for MAGA. Of course, MAGA out there, MAGA meat, he's cool as hell too, so I'm good with that, but I'm about to tell him that joke. And he, like I say, he may have heard it before, but he has to keep things, he's got a Facebook, but he has to keep it clean, you know, because he's a Catholic school principal, and so I can't put it, I'll have to text it to him. I've got his number, I'll just text him, but he'll like that one. That's funny. Breaking news, the FBI couldn't figure out whose crack was in the White House. Too bad the FBI didn't look at the bags labeled Hunter's crack. Yeah, no shit. You know, it's amazing to me that all those fucking cameras and shit that are in that place, you know, like cameras everywhere, they never found out whose cocaine that was in the locker, I guess, or who rented that locker. But we're not going to get into that though. Well, we can go back to, let's see, what was I talking about before that? Oh, I was talking about cleaning out my building. I got a bunch of shit in there. I guess I should have taken it out in the spring. Man, I got this building. It's 12 feet wide or wide. It's 8 feet deep and then 13 and a half feet high. And I've got 2 scooters. I've got a 4-wheeler out there. It's just one of those knockoff brand 4-wheelers. You know, you buy it at like, I don't know, Northern Tool or something like that. I got one of those, and then I've got a 2011 or 12 Suzuki RMZ 250 dirt bike. I haven't been on a dirt bike in quite a while. I used to ride motocross when I was young. But you know, being the age I am now, I have to remember I've got to get up and go to work in the morning. So I haven't been out to a motocross park in a long time. So that bike's sitting in I bought it brand new at Big St. Charles Motorsports over in St. Charles, Missouri, and they didn't have. I went in looking for a two-stroke. I like the Suzuki RM125, the two-stroke bike, but you know, that was right after that tsunami over there in Japan. And unfortunate enough for me, all those Suzukis have been sold everywhere. And they weren't going to sell the two-stroke in the U.S. anymore for some reason. I don't know if it had to do with emissions regulations or, you know, environmental bullshit, or, you know, the big global warming or climate change scare, I guess, was what it's all about. So I went to another place. He was like, well, you know, I can get you one, but, you know, it'll be 6 months before it comes in. I'm like, no, if I'm going to buy a bike, I want it now. So I ended up going to a different dealership, the Big St. Charles Motorsports in St. Charles, Missouri. He was like, yeah, man. He said, let me look, and I'll see if I can find you one. So he called the place River Break or Riverside over in Paducah, Kentucky, and found me this RMZ 250. It's a 4-stroke. Man, that bike's just as strong as any 2-stroke I've ever ridden in my whole life, and it's responsive as hell. But see, the problem now is that this bike has been sitting for two or 3 years. It's been since I've been on that thing, and I'm very positive that the jets and everything, because it's fuel injected, I'm pretty sure the injectors or whatever are probably all gummed up and shit. So I'm gonna have to take the carburetor out of it and clean it up real good. I've had it on sale on Facebook for quite a while. Ron, you ever heard of reverse exorcism, where the demon pulls the priest out of the kid? That's funny as hell. Would you believe I'm Catholic, okay? But I think that's funny as hell. I'm really pissed off at the Catholic Church right now anyway. I haven't been to church in a long time. I really don't care to go back. Hey, go. Go, go, go. Oh, man, I'm going to miss the light now. So, anyway, you know, this whole thing with, you know, I did some, I've been doing some, what they call rabbit hole digging. I went on a rabbit hole hunt for a while. And, man, I learned all kinds of shit, you know, because I quit watching the news a long time ago. Go to an evangelical church, Mr. Lebowski. I've been to one. As a matter of fact, my one of my friends from junior high school, or junior high and high school, his dad was a Baptist minister, and I've been to the Pentecostal Holiness Church, and I've been to, you know, during that whole time, I don't know if you remember, Maga, you might be old enough to remember all the shenanigans that were going on out there at the PTL club, you know, with Jim and Tammy Faye Baker. Well, I was dating this girl at the time. Her mom, now she was from the St. Louis area. They moved to North Carolina, right down the street from Fort Mill, South Carolina, which is where PTL was. And so I was there during that whole PTL thing going on with Jim and Tammy Faye Baker. This woman, my girlfriend's mom, their girlfriend at the time, her mom had like a lifetime gold membership at this joint, right? And they had, like, you know, I'd been on TV before. You know, they had TV tapings of church and shit like that. And then they had a water park, they had a petting zoo, they had a train that went around the whole fucking place. It was really cool out there. I'm an evangelical and natural poonhound, God-given. Yeah, no shit. Billy Graham, powerful pastor. Yeah, Billy Graham was all right. Franklin's a little bit on the sketchy side, I think, but you know, I lived not far from the Billy Graham Parkway in Charlotte, North Carolina, when they built that library out there in the church. I remember when that went up over there in Charlotte. But anyway, so getting back to what I was talking about, yeah, I did some rabbit hole. I went in a rabbit hole for a while and found out a lot of weird shit that was going on in the Catholic Church. And then the girl I'm dating, she listens to the Catholic guy on the Catholic radio channel, and this the Catholic guy has a priest, or not a priest, but an atheist on there, and they were talking about, you know, the priest over there in the Vatican. Apparently, he went and visited there, and said that you could actually cut the tension with a knife over there in the Vatican. It's obvious that, you know, half of the people over there are evil as hell, and the other half are, you know, not too bad. You know what I mean? You fuss about a couple of rabbit holes myself. Yeah. Yeah. But anyway, so and you know, it's like I was going to a really cool Catholic church here when I first started coming, you know, when I moved here from North Carolina. And it was like a neighborhood church, you know, and then I went there probably for, I don't know, 3 or 4 years. And then for some reason, the St. Louis Diocese decided to close this church. So basically, the church that I was in had 2 different locations. You had one was like the main church, and then you had the other church, which they used every once in a while, like for Christmas and Easter and shit like that, all the holidays, you know, like the holy holidays. And they had a school over there, and but that's where the original church was. And then they broke that one up. I think it was like St. Timothy's or something. And then there was like 2 other churches with that one that combined into the one I was going to. It was called Holy Trinity, which would be the 3 saints or whoever they were, you know, that all came to one place. So when they closed Holy Trinity, everybody had to disperse to other places. So of course, you know, you had a lot of the groups, like, I don't know what it is about the Catholic Church. Why are there cliques in the Catholic Church? I don't understand that. You know what I mean? Here I am talking about religion, and I said I like to stay away from religion because it really causes a lot of problems. But I guess, you know, when you're talking about it in retrospect, it's not so bad. But anyway, so I was just, you know, it's like, so when I went to a different one, then I don't know what it was, especially during the whole the whole COVID thing. You know, the Catholics were really pushing that, you know, mask and social distancing and all that. Then they wouldn't let you come to church, right? So, and then some of the other churches around started to fall apart because they didn't have the, you know, people tithing and taking care of the church. You know, people weren't sending in money because a lot of people were furloughed and they didn't know, like, where their next meal was coming from, much less the next dollar. You know what I mean? So they started closing all these different churches all over the place. And you're a rabbit and a Catholic priest runs out of the burning orphanage. The priest says, kids. Yeah, shit. So anyway, so, you know, that's one of the things that really pisses me off. You want people to, you know, be involved in religion or God or whatever, you really should have a place for them to go. And I don't understand, you know, the St. Louis Diocese is so freaking big, you know, but then again, and I'm guessing it has to do a lot with this whole, you know, scandal thing with, you know, the underage kids and, you know, the priest. They have a shortage of priests now, so they have a hard time. And so, like, you know, nowadays, you know, one priest, you know, usually takes care of like 2 or 3 different parishes, and which is really fucked up, you know, that they've gotten that bad anyway. You know, it's like people don't want to be priests anymore. Of course, I don't blame them. You know, these guys have to give up everything, and, you know, they have a lot because, you know, but they have to live simple, I guess. I couldn't do it anyway. Plus, I like pussy too much. Oop, did I say that? I don't think I'm supposed to say that on here, but you know, it's true. Anyway, so yeah, so I haven't been to church in a long time and don't really care to go back for right now. But, you know, I may take you up on that, MAGA. I may try like one of these, what are some of those holy roller churches called? You know, the ones just like being in a concert. I can't remember what they're called.